Hi everyone, welcome to Holy Glow Podcast. I'm your host, Alina Elliott, and I'm so glad to be here with you guys today. On this podcast, we talk all about Jesus, life, and so much more. So basically, if you're alive and breathing, this podcast is for you. Anyways, before we start our episode, we obviously need to start out with our Glow of the Week. Yay! It's Glow of the Week time. If you don't know what Glow of the Week is, it's where we share an answered prayer, a God moment, or a good thing that happened this week. So for me, I met up with two of my best friends this week, which is so sweet. My one friend I haven't seen in a bit, so we got to catch up and have a good time. We went out to lunch. We did that really cute little picture thing where you take a picture of each other. Love that. And then me and my other friend, we went to a worship night. You guys, I have been worship night hopping. Oh my goodness. But we went and it was a good time together, and we saw some of our other friends. So that was good, and just got to worship the Lord. And that was pretty much it. We also watched a movie together, which that was very fun. And I loved the movie that we watched. If you don't know and you're not here usually, I say 4 Glow of the Weeks. But that's just how I roll. So another Glow of my week, the third one, I went on another podcast called Fiery Friends. If you want to check out our episode, just look up Fiery Friends on Spotify and you can find it. And we talked all about First Peter, which is actually such a good book. And I knew it was a good book, but I didn't know it was a good book until I reread it. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I do read it, but it's just not a book I gravitate towards very often. So I thought that was really cool. And last but most definitely not least, me and my mom, we went out to lunch with my grandma and my uncle, which was super sweet. Shout out to them. Love you guys. But yeah, so those are my glows of the week. Everyone, I want you guys to share yours in the comments below. I'm watching. Nobody has been sharing theirs except for my dad. So if we could get some more people in here, that'd be really cool. But if you can figure it out, great. If you can't, it's fine. But if you can, please comment down below. It could literally just be that you woke up this morning. Seriously. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Also, before I get into the message, I do want to say there is no excuse for why I'm posting this late. I was trying to write this message yesterday, and I kid you not, I wanted to bang my head against a wall. I felt like I could not do it, and I was just like, this is not working for me. So, your girlie wrote some of it yesterday. I wrote most of this yesterday, and then I got up early this morning, and I was going to try and put this out before 12, but it just did not work out that way. So I did end up finishing it, and we are still posting it today, so praise the Lord. My procrastination needs to stop, but I promise you guys, I'm working on it, kind of. I'm not going to promise that because I'm not sure. Anyways, next week we should be back to normal. This week, though, I want to talk about faithfulness. I know we talked about this a little bit last week if you were here, how God is faithful, because we were talking about the attributes of God, and that's one thing that he is, and it's so awesome. But today, I want to go a little bit more in depth and also in a different direction. The first aspect I want to talk about is the faithfulness of God. Truly, he is like no other. I did say this last week, but I always think of how faithful he is when people leave my life. He is literally the only one who will always be with you. Others, sadly, they can be here today and gone tomorrow for a multitude of reasons, but Jesus, he will never leave you. This is something I believe is so foundational, or should be so foundational, in the life of a Christian. Knowing with everything that you are, that no matter what you do or where you go, God is with you. If you know that, it will literally change your whole life. Knowing it in your heart, not just with your head. Because we can know all this information, but it's different when it sinks down, When you can grasp this concept truly, you walk with confidence, safety, and steadiness because you just have this knowing in your heart that no matter what comes your way, God goes before you, he goes behind you, he goes beside you, he's all around you. And you just walk so differently. I've been feeling a lot of emotions lately for a bunch of different reasons that we're not going to get into today. And it's just been an interesting season to navigate. I don't know if you guys have ever had that where it's you go through a moment of you're crying a lot. There's just a lot of things going on in your mind and you're like, Lord, what do I do? That has been me recently. And I know in my heart, I know and I truly believe, I know that God has not left me. I know that he still loves me and I know that he's with me. But in my own flesh and my own self, sometimes I'm like, Lord, are you sure you're still there? I haven't made you leave yet. Well, it keeps my heart grounded through those emotions and through all those feelings is reading the word, being faithful to Jesus, being faithful to doing what I know I need to do, eating my daily bread, no matter how I might feel on the inside, because my feelings are not always true. But you know who is? Jesus. As I read the Bible too, it fills me in a way that nothing else can, and it reminds me of who my God is and what he promises to me. Those feelings after reading the word slowly go away, and his truth just comes flooding in. It's so cool too, because I've been asking the Lord for a dream, just because I don't feel like I've been hearing him. I've been reading the word, and actually I feel like I've been getting a lot out of the word recently. Not that I normally don't, but it's just been more, I feel like. But I love when you can just like hear God, and like you're sitting there in the stillness and you just know it's him. And I haven't been having that much. So I've been asking the Lord for a dream, and I love getting dreams because it's like, I do believe that the Lord could speak through dreams, but also I love it because you know it's not you trying to make it happen, I guess. If you know it's a God dream and like you can feel it in your heart and you just like have this knowing. You guys, I know that made no sense, but if you know, you get it. I feel like you could get where I'm going here. But I love it when I have a good God dream. It's so encouraging and it's so cool because it's like, Lord, you speak to me this way too? This is incredible. And I believe he gave me one the other night. And it was basically reminding me that God is excited about the plans that he has for me. And you know what? Maybe he can't show them to me right now because literally it was like a symbolic kind of a thing. But I felt like he was saying, like, I can't show you my plans right now. But if you keep being obedient and faithful in what I've called you to do, then I will show you my plans in my perfect timing. Like, it's all going to come to pass and it's all going to be good because it's me, because it's God, you know? And with faithfulness, I was just thinking about this. I think of Elijah and Elisha. Elisha refused to leave Elijah's side. If you don't know who they are Old Testament prophets in the Bible that did super cool stuff. And I just think of him being so faithful to Elijah. Like, I will not leave you until I get a double portion. Like, until you give me your mantle. Like, he was so steady in that and so consistent and so faithful. And it was like he knew the call of God on his life. It was like he just had this knowing in his heart and in his soul that I'm supposed to follow you. I'm supposed to do something like you're doing. I'm supposed to follow God most importantly, but I believe that he's called me to live this life of ministry, you know? And I just love that example because it shows persistence and it shows faithfulness. And I feel like a lot of people give up very quickly with things pertaining to promises and the Lord, when really, if you would just stick it out a little bit longer, maybe if you'd hold on, maybe if you'd cling to the Lord, maybe if you dive into him and see what he's saying, that thing might come to pass. You might just got to work for it. You might not work for it. You might just have to keep holding on a little bit longer, because you shouldn't be in striving. You should be in a place of peace. But also, sometimes God just wants you to keep asking and to keep seeking and to keep knocking to see how badly you want it, I guess. And also, it like produces such good fruit in you. It produces character in you when it's of the Lord. When it's not of the Lord, it does not produce good fruit. So, little side topic, but I just think it was an interesting little story that came to mind as I was talking. But the story I wanted to talk about today is Ruth. She is someone that I think of when I think of faithfulness. She is just, she's an incredible woman. If you don't know her story, we are about to study it, you guys. So buckle up, buttercups. We're going to go in. I don't think I've ever said that on here. Anyways, she married a man who was the son of a woman named Naomi. Naomi, it's either Naomi or Naomi, okay? If I say either one, just don't judge me, please. Naomi had a husband and another son as well, who was married to a woman named Orpah. Orpah's such an interesting name. All the men of that family died, and Naomi told her daughters-in-law to return to their mother's house. So basically both her husbands died, so she was like, just literally, like, you can go back to your mom. Go back to your mother's house. You're fine. So they all wept together, and they both said to her, surely we will return with you to your people. Naomi said once again to turn back because there were no more sons she had for them anyways. And what are they going to do? Wait? Like, no, they're not. And here's where a separation happens. Just like we talked about, not everyone that comes into your life is going to stay. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye and decided to return to her people and her gods. The Moabites did not serve the Lord, which was what Ruth and Orpah were. This was a sin to marry them as well. The Israelites were supposed to marry each other because the other nations had other gods. And Naomi and her family, they were Israelites that dwelt in Moab because of a famine that happened. Now Ruth, she clung to Naomi. I'm going to say her exact words because I feel like this is so powerful. And actually this is often mentioned in weddings too. But it says, but Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go. And wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me. Even though God might not have directly spoken in the book of Ruth, he's talked about here, and he's actually talked about way more than I thought. Ruth must have seen something different in this God and in these people. She had this beautiful determination and faithfulness that I think a lot of us need. Imagine if we clung to God like Ruth clung to Naomi. Imagine if we stayed as faithful in what the Lord had called us to do as Ruth did. So together they went to Bethlehem, and it says all the city was excited because of them. Naomi, she got bitter from what happened with her family, and she told the people to call her Mara. They got to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Now, there was a relative there of Naomi's husband named Boaz, who was rich and their kinsman redeemer, which means he acted on behalf of a family member in trouble, danger, or poverty. His duties included buying back sold family land, freeing relatives from slavery, marrying a childless widow, avenging murders, things like that. Ruth asked if she could glean in the field after the reapers. This was a thing that people that were poor did. Like if they didn't have much food or whatever, there would be farmers that would be sent out to reap, and then whatever was left over, the poor people could come and take of. So Naomi says yes, and it just so happened that as Boaz was walking by, Ruth was in the part of his field. And he asked his servant who this woman was. After he found out this was Naomi's daughter-in-law and how amazing she has been, Boaz went and told Ruth 3 things. Do not glean in any other field. He promised protection from the young men because back then I think they would harass them in the fields, like if you weren't specifically told not to. And when she was thirsty, she could come and drink water anytime she wanted. She was so grateful to Boaz and asked why she had found favor in his eyes. I believe she even fell on her face too. And he told her that it had been fully reported to him all she had done for her mother-in-law and how she left everything she knew for a land and a people that she didn't know. I love what Boaz says here. He says, the Lord repay your work and a full reward given to you by the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings you have found refuge. When she said, your people will be my people and your God will be my God, this woman meant it. I truly believe, just from what he says here, that she came to know the God of Israel. She found protection and safety and comfort and hope under his wings. There's no way that was easy, leaving everything she knew. When she did, though, she came to know the one true living God. She made the decision to follow him, and he started putting everything into place. She obeyed the call of God on her life, and she was abundantly blessed for it. She was faithful to what the Lord entrusted into her hand. Now, Boaz, he also said to her that she could eat with them, and when she got up to glean, he specifically told the reapers to let bundles of grain fall on purpose for her, which I think is so cute. Boaz, as we can see, was just a true man of God. Like, even when he went out and saw Ruth in the field, I didn't mention this part, but he said, the Lord bless you to all the reapers, and they were like, the Lord is with you, or something. It was something along the lines of that, but I just think Boaz, you could just see his heart, and you'll see it more as we finish this story, but it's just so beautiful to watch this man of God see this brand new woman of God's heart. He saw her being faithful And he was so overtaken by her character that he was like, I want you to be blessed for how much you're blessing others. That's such a biblical principle, is that when you give, it'll be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, men shall give unto your bosom. Like, when you give, especially when what you reap, what you sow, you reap. So when you are giving good things to people, you are going to reap good things back into your life. That is biblical. It's not the law of attraction. It's not whatever. It's not new age. It's biblical. God ordained that, okay? No, but seriously though, I think this is so sweet. And she came home after a long day of gleaning to her mother-in-law, and since she had so much grain and stuff, Naomi was like, what field did you glean in, girl? And she said it was Boaz's. Naomi was so thankful and reaffirmed to her to stay in his field and do exactly as Boaz said. So Ruth, being so faithful and incredible, did exactly that. Then Naomi said to her she wanted to seek security for her. And I read that this was the same kind of security that I believe is talked about in Ruth 1:9, where she had her late husband. Naomi wanted to give her assurance that she would be taken care of in this context specifically by a husband. Naomi said that Boaz is their relative, and he was winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. It was normal for people to sleep there because thieves would usually try and come to steal all the grain that these people owned. Obviously, you don't want your grain stolen, so you're going to sleep there. She told her to go wash herself, anoint herself, put on her best garments, and go down to the threshing floor. She also told her to not make herself known to him until after he ate and drank. Then she told her to go uncover his feet, lie down, and he would tell her what to do. This apparently was an act of total submission. Not sexual. It was not, it was kind of flirting, but it definitely was not like a sexual weird thing, okay? This was understood to be the role of a servant. She came in total humility before him, and even though it was technically expected of him because he was their redeemer, to marry Ruth, she didn't go to him demanding the right to be with him. She went before him humbly, letting him give her the next steps. So Ruth did exactly what Naomi said. Boaz was not expecting a woman to be there, so he was like, oh my goodness, who are you, girl? He laid down and he's like, wow, there's a woman at my bed. Ruth says that she's his maidservant and asks him to take her under his wing because he is their close relative. This, I think, is quite cool because it's almost like a little hint at what Boaz said to her earlier, which I just was thinking about this now as I was talking about it. But he said he was talking about how she found refuge under the wings of the Lord, basically. And Ruth asks for him to take her under his wing. So biblical. This is a biblical marriage, people. Are we shocked by this because it's in the Bible? Not necessarily, but still, this is super cool. When you're married, you guys, I feel like all I've been talking about is relationships. It's a problem. No, but like, you are under the wing of the Lord, and then you're under the wing of your husband if you're a wife. And husbands, you better be a good wing, okay? But anyways, back to Jesus, back to Ruth, back to Boaz. We love Boaz here, you guys. So when she asked him this, apparently this was her being like, I'm a widow, please marry me because this is what you're supposed to do as the kinsman redeemer. He tells her that she is blessed of the Lord. And he says that there is someone like a closer relative to her than he was. But if he declined, that he would most definitely marry her. Of course, I'm adding the most definitely. But he did say that he would marry her. Okay, I also just have to say here that you can see through everything that this man does that he knew the Lord. Like, it is so evident in his actions, like letting the grains like just fall, like leaving bundles of grains for her to pick up and being like, I will protect you, I will love you, I will take care of you, I will provide for you. Like, this is a godly man. Oh my goodness. And he was so faithful and true to her. He was faithful to Ruth, and he was just like, oh, you could just see his character shining through, and I love it so much. So Boaz, he told her to leave when the morning came, and he sent her home with a bunch of barley too, which I think was very sweet. Because he's Boaz, of course. He took care of this whole situation right away. So the next morning, he asked the other man if he would redeem the land, and they did this out in the city, I believe, with like with elders and witnesses. Like, this was a whole ordeal. And so he asked him if he would redeem the land, and the man says yes, But then Boaz, he reveals that Ruth comes with the redemption of the land. Like, you can't just take the land, you got to have her too. And after he found that out, he told Boaz to redeem it because I think he already had a wife and he was like, this ain't going to work. He couldn't because it would wreck his inheritance. So in front of all the witnesses, they agreed Boaz would be the one to marry Ruth. And so he did. After they got married, Ruth had a son, and his name was Obed, who was the father of Jesse and the grandfather of King David. And that was also a big restoration moment for Naomi as well, because obviously her sons died and her husband died. And it said that, like, she put the baby on her chest, and, like, Boaz was a restorer of life to her. What a beautiful thing to say about somebody. I know that this story was a little bit, I know that this was, like, basically the episode. I hope you guys don't mind. But as I was going through it, I was just thinking about how much you can get out of this. There's so many takeaways from this, and I probably am not even going to name all of them, but, like, there's so much. I think of Ruth. She turned from her other gods, choosing to be faithful to the Lord, and how he blessed her so much in that. It was like her whole life just turned around. And it reminds me of us when we decide to follow Jesus. It's not like everything changed overnight. You know, your heart might have changed, but it's not like your whole life changes necessarily in one day, you know? I mean, like, definitely can happen, but usually it's like a piece by piece thing, and that's exactly what God did with Ruth. Piece by piece, he was putting her story together to become just one beautiful canvas of art. And then there's Boaz. This man reminds me of Jesus. He is an Ephesians 5 husband, okay? He was so faithful to Ruth, as we've mentioned like 20 times. He took care of her. He protected her. He was so kind to her, just an amazing man. Then the Lord blessed this woman even more because she's literally a part of the lineage of Jesus. King David? Okay, yeah, Jesus came from King David. Oh my gosh, like so much goodness. So much goodness came from so much tragedy. That could only be the Lord. And it's all because she was faithful. Boaz was faithful. Like, they were faithful to God. They believed that the Lord did have them under his wings. Like, seriously, I think that is so incredible. And I don't know about you, but as I keep on talking about, you could just see his faithfulness all over this story and his kindness just woven all throughout this. Everything that happened to her, all the loss her and Naomi endured in the beginning, was restored through Boaz. Like I said, he was called the restorer. Like, he was the restorer of life for Naomi. That is so Jesus. He is the restorer of our lives. He is faithful to us. God never left them. And it's so clear to me that God worked this all out for their good. Ruth is such a beautiful example of not giving up. Naomi, she actually did kind of give up. She got bitter. Girl was like, the Lord has left me to, well, she didn't say the Lord left her, but she did say something along the lines of, like, the Lord afflicted this upon me. She said the Lord did that to her. And she called herself Mara. She didn't have, like, hope anymore. She had bitterness in her heart. But I think of Ruth, and she's like this new baby Christian, I guess you could say. But she just had this faith and this persistence and this determination and faithfulness that the Lord would work it all out. And it was like she knew the God of Israel almost better than Naomi did. She knew the God of Israel, to me, it seems like Boaz did. Her character, her heart attracted a man like that. And I don't think you could just attract a man like that through not truly believing in the Lord, because I think Boaz truly did. But she's such a beautiful example of not giving up, to staying faithful in where the Lord has you and that he will take care of you. Staying faithful in where the Lord has you and he will bring the right people to you. I want to let you guys know that if you're struggling believing God's faithfulness today, remember that his character does not rest upon how you feel that day. It rests upon his promises, and it rests upon who he says he is all the time, not just when you feel him. If you're struggling being faithful today in what the Lord is calling you to do, remember that when you're faithful in the little, you'll be faithful with much. Story after story in the Bible, we see that when you stay faithful to the Lord, he will take care of you, and you don't need to worry about things because his faithfulness, like, it's forever. just through reading the Bible, if you can get that in your heart, like I said, it will change your life. It's like knowing you have a lion walking behind you. Seriously, you don't need to be concerned about anything. You're just like, okay, I know he's with me. He's a faithful God. He was with me back then. He'll be with me now. And he's going to work it all out for my good. And it takes so much stress and pressure off of life because it's like, oh, I'm faithful to the Lord. He will be faithful to me. Even if we are faithless, he's still faithful. So either way, he's faithful. Like it's all going to be great, you guys. Okay. So be faithful. Know that God is faithful to you and just have hope today that it's all going to work out for your good. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to hear more and you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment if there's anything else you'd like to hear me talk about, and don't forget to comment your glow of the week. Yay! Every platform Holy Glow is on is in the description down below, so check it out if you'd like. If you're listening on Spotify, you can follow this podcast and please rate it. Also check Holy Glow Pod out on Instagram at Holy Glow Pod. I post a new episode every Tuesday, usually at 12 p.m. I love you guys so much, but Jesus loves you even more, and let's glow for Jesus. Bye!